What's up, everybody? We're back again. It's episode, I think it's 186. We didn't even discuss it pre-show.
Yes, it's
Pretty
186.
pretty sure we nailed it. Of the Dadbods Golf Pod, brought to you by Bet Online, the number one sports betting website in the country. Get online today, sign up, use coupon code BLEAV, BLEAV, get a 50% welcome bonus. Give them $100. They're going to give you 50 back to play with on top of it. Casino, play blackjack till you just run out of money, or until you just make a ton of money.
Yes.
Craps at any time of the day, or you can get live bets on golf, live bets on basketball, every single sport out there. You can get on it. Horse racing, love it. You can do it here at Bet Online, the number one sports betting website in the country. Check them out. Bet Online, where the game starts. Ben, Kyle, we're ready to rock. And this weekend was very eventful. It sort of kind of kicked off a little bit late Tuesday night of last week.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get a little bit more information about the Live Tour. And the big story over the weekend, that was it was weird at first, but when you really start to dig into it, it was actually made a ton of sense and is actually kind of genius, to be honest. So Kevin Na puts out that he is resigning from the PGA Tour. So he is no longer a member of the PGA Tour, basically retiring. So
so you have to just send your card in. How does that work?
I think it's just like any company. You send in a resignation letter. You just send in a resignation letter. You lose all your status. And I assume if you wanted to jump back, you'd have to start back over from scratch. I mean, I don't know that part of it, but he's resigning. He's retiring from the PGA Tour after 19 years. So we all knew you were going over there. Why is this a big deal? This is why this is a big deal. And I think this is huge. Nobody's really talking about this. So we're going to educate you. Okay. If you are on the PGA Tour and you are serving a suspension, the USGA and the RNA, which are the governing bodies for the US Open and the Open, they reserve the right to suspend you from their tournaments. Okay. So if you have you're automatically qualified, but you're serving a suspension, or you're under suspension, or you're not in good standing, they can restrict you from playing. Well, when you're not a member of a tour,
they can't suspend you.
They cannot suspend you. So then it just becomes an open. It's an open. So they take you got world ranking points, you got wins that get you exempt, you got all kind of stuff. Kevin Na's in. So
sponsorship exemptions, because he's got some. I
don't know if you can do sponsors. I don't think you can get sponsorships and exemptions into US Opens, but still.
Not into an Open, but to a regular tournament. He can come back and play on a regular tournament on an off weekend, I guess.
In theory, maybe you're right. Maybe that's correct. Here's another thing: you get to keep your pension.
That was my question, because I didn't know if you did or not. Because that was when you said resigning, I thought, okay. Does he? Because a lot of people don't realize this. The PGA Tour does have a retirement plan.
Yes, they do
for the players, and so I guess it is a retirement because he's allowed to keep his pension. It's not necessarily a resignation. I mean, I know he said he's resigning from it, but if he gets to keep his pension,
yes,
it's more of a retirement than it is a resignation, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, it's just essentially and I assume that's what's going to start happening with all these guys that are on the PGA Tour, so that it doesn't jeopardize their standing in the different major tournaments. Now, the Masters is an invitational, so they reserve the right to do whatever the heck they want. They could invite you based off your world ranking points. They could not. But as far as the others, we'll get to this later, but over time, your world ranking points are obviously going to drop unless you perform really well in those majors. But yeah, so they announced his retirement on during the US Women's Open. They spent less than a minute talking about it, but they did announce it during the US Women's Open tournament. And that really ruffled a lot of white knights that want to try to pretend like they really like to watch women's golf, especially on Twitter and things like that. It really ruffled some feathers. And a lot of things that I saw was, it's not really a story. It's not a big story. Why would you interrupt women's golf? It's not a big story. What, Ben, is this not a huge story?
It's a huge story. Number two, they didn't interrupt coverage. The girls were still playing. Like they didn't stop. They didn't have everybody stop on the course. They didn't cut away. They didn't miss shots. They just talked about it during the tournament. And there was probably more debate and talk on Twitter than there was the actual broadcast.
Oh, yeah.
Because
didn't take anything away from the golf.
No, it took nothing away from a ladies' event. But apparently everybody thought that it took away from the ladies' event, which is kind of funny because when Nelly Korda had surgery, they said that during a men's event, but nobody batted an eye at that. But whatever. I'm not going there with that. Not doing the back and forth. But and I've told you, I'm a huge, like, as far as women's golf, I'm a huge Korda fan, both of them. We've talked about that on the show. We say that's by far the most athletic family in the history of sports, probably.
Yes. The best golf swing in sports is Nelly
Yes,
Korda.
and she has the best golf swing in sport, even after surgery, and she still had a top 10 in the U.S. Women's Open.
Right.
So I don't understand the butt hurt that these people were getting from it. I'd love to hear from some of the pros themselves. I'd love to hear from Nelly Korda. I think somebody like her, somebody like a Korda that really follows men's golf and like you saw her fangirling in front of Tiger and that kind of thing, she probably would have been like, well, that's pretty interesting that he had to turn in his race. Like, I don't think the first thing she would think would be, oh, did y'all interrupt our coverage to talk about that? I think she would be like, that's kind of weird. That's kind of strange.
I mean, you got you got a guy who was on the outside shot to be in the Ryder Cup last year, who's made a ton of money on the US on the PGA Tour for 19 years, multiple time winner. And he comes out and says he's resigning. Like that's the key thing that to me is a huge story, because you have a competing tournament. I mean, a competing tour, not in which they don't even think they're competing. They're like, even off their website, their wording and their marketing is in addition to,
Right.
They're not trying to replace the PGA Tour. They're just trying to sort of enhance and play off of the PGA Tour. A player comes out and says they're completely resigning from the big tour.
Relevant player,
a very relevant player, which seemingly is going to be a chain reaction for all the other players that want to still perform and compete in the majors. It's sort of a pathway. That was the thing we were always concerned about. Are these guys going to be able to play in the majors? How is that whole thing going to work? Now it seems like there's a pathway to that. So again, we've talked about this. You got DJ going, you got Kevin Na doing the resignation. We're sort of wondering, if you talked about it, are people doing the wait and see? And now we're starting to see the different ways that these guys could take this path and make it work. Yeah. And then, I mean, I don't know how you get back on if you resign. Can you reapply? Do you go through the Corn Ferry? I mean, what do you do? Do you have to start?
You go through Q school again? I mean,
I don't know. That's exactly right. It'd be very interesting to see, but I think it's a huge story. And I think if you say it's not, you're just literally you're like lying to yourself. It's a huge story.
You're trying to sound cool. You're trying to sound, you're the golf version of woke. If that's what you think.
Great.
Like
great comp.
It's basically, it's like, that's not a big story. Are you kidding me? This is huge. This is the number one story. I mean, on top of DJ probably being the largest story for going over there, Kevin Na resigning from the PGA Tour is right there at number two. As far as the information that's come out in the last 2 weeks, that's the two top stories.
Oh yeah. Well, there's this guy and he was talking about how it wasn't a big story and it shouldn't interrupt coverage from the US Women's Open. I said, I don't mean this by any disrespect, but I guarantee you there's more Google searches right now about Kevin Na than there is the United States Women's Open. And he was like, I bet there's not. And I literally went to Google Trends and did a comparison, and it's on Twitter. It's like, it's not even close. And this was not even just over this past like weekend. This was over like a year's time.
Yeah.
It's like Kevin Na's way up here, and then United States Women's Open is a flat line. I mean, It's a huge story. Kevin Na, he does kind of move the needle ever since he started doing this little walk-in putts and back whenever he got the yips. He's an entertaining guy. So I definitely
had that 17 on a hole or whatever it was.
Like TPC San Antonio or something like that. He had a 14.
That's great. He's a good family man. He's been caught on camera arguing with his caddy before. Like you said, the walk-ins. it's not like people don't know who he is. And the fact that you dropped knowledge on this guy and posted the trends, it was like, so there. And you notice you didn't hear back from him too, by the way, when you did that.
Yeah.
Once you put knowledge on somebody. So as I'm telling you, it's the golf version of woke. Everybody
we're playing this pretend. We don't think it's a big deal. If we pretend it's not a big deal, then it'll just go away. Maybe if that's kind of the strategy, I don't know. But
and see, that's the stat came out 125 million for DJ. Tiger's only made 121 in his career. And everybody's like, so he's going to make in one season more than Tiger's made in his entire career.
It's incredible.
And I'm like, now, but I mean,
yeah,
that's just purse money. That's not, that's not the rest of the money. Like he's making more money, 125. He's making more money than Tiger made in purse money. Like when they did that statistic, I was kind of like, well, that's not a fair statistic because this 125 is basically a sponsorship that they're guaranteeing him to come over and play.
But still, I mean, it took
just like Tiger signing a $500 million contract with Nike. It's like, if you're going to compare it to sponsorships, then do Tiger sponsorships too. Yeah. Don't say, oh, he's made more than Tiger made career earnings.
I still think it's a relative. I mean, yes and no, because he's getting paid by the tour. You know what I'm saying? Like that, the 121 is what Tiger's made from the PGA Tour. The 125 is what DJ's going to start off with making from the Live Tour. So it's sort of a relevant comparison. It's crazy. The money's going crazy. But one guy on Twitter who he is not a Kevin Na fan, and he had another bad exchange. Grayson Murray cannot get over this Kevin Na deal.
Oh my gosh.
And it is
rent free.
It's awful. I'm embarrassed for Grayson Murray. Like I literally am. It's hard to even get worse than some of the stuff that he's saying. But the announcement comes out and Grayson Murray says, like I said on the range in Mexico. So I guess, he's trying to say he was.
Here we go. Yeah. He bowed up on him in Mexico.
Yeah, he bowed up on Kevin Na, who's like 5'2". Like I said on the range in Mexico, you won't be missed, Kevin Na. PGA Tour, our rounds just got 20 minutes faster. Okay, so we just improved a minute a hole. Wow. We just spent just about a minute a hole. We just got that much faster.
He's a pro golfer, so I didn't want to talk too much trash to him, but I really wanted to be like, why don't you try making a couple of Saturdays and Sundays, and you'll actually get to see how long an actual tournament lasts.
Yeah, that's those rounds. The reasons your rounds are so long, Grayson, they're much quicker on the weekend. When there's not that many guys, it's so much quicker.
When the field's cut in half.
Yeah, when the field's cut in half, it's so much quicker. Those Thursdays and Fridays, I bet they can be frustrating when there's 180 people out there. But when there's only 70 on the weekend, they go so much faster. Maybe you'll get to experience that one day. And I just responded that the only reason anybody knows who you are is because of Kevin Na. Like, I didn't even know who you were until 3 weeks ago, until Kevin Na. Like, if you Google a picture of Grayson Murray, Kevin Na comes up. Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So he got absolutely lambasted over that. And he comes back a little bit later, which is an even more pathetic response. And he says, I'm going to read this because this is really funny for two reasons. He says, I don't want to be a bully. I apologize to Kevin Na. I'd be doing the exact same thing if I were him. Also, for anyone who says I suck at golf, you're wrong. Okay, two things. Number one, I don't want to be a bully. Well,
it's too late. You've already done that. You confronted him on the range, the shorter guy, and you basically
confronted a small guy on the range and tried to intimidate him over, you just not being very good on the PGA relative to other PGA Tour golfers.
Yes.
And then he says, I'd be doing the exact same thing if I were him. Well, then why the hell are you chapping? What are you yapping at? Like, what's going on? Like,
his agent probably called him and said, hey, they may invite you. You need to shut the hell up. That'll be a big payday for us. Exactly. Because you don't get much paid after. I mean, you got to wait. You got to play on Sunday to get paid. So yeah, missing cuts don't get you paid on the PGA Tour. That's for sure.
But yeah, like what a bad look. So you're janking on him about the Live Tour and playing slow and peace out. Well, we won't miss you. And then you're like, I'm sorry, I'd do the exact same thing if I were you. Like,
yeah,
somebody got after him. I feel like somebody got after him and said, you need to chill out or or something.
He'll end up taking that tweet down because now the PGA Tour will reach out to him and be like, "You need to take that down," saying that you were gonna, if you were him, you'd do the exact same thing.
Yeah, I hope he gets suspended for it. What if that would be funny? I mean, he gets
suspended for the rest of the Thursdays and Fridays.
He's been suspended. Yeah, exactly. He's been suspending himself for quite a while, and now he's going to serve an actual suspension. So
I love how he threw there at the end. Everybody that says I'm not good at golf, you're wrong. No, Bub, your record proves that you're not very good.
Okay,
like, don't get me wrong. I understand you're a pro golfer, but it's like I told somebody, we were having this argument about making fun of golf because they were like, "I've heard you guys make fun of golfers, and they're better than you." I said, I understand that. But that's their job. That's their profession. And when they're not good at their profession, I'm going to rail on them about it. Just like if I'm not good at my profession, when I'm on the radio, people rail on me about it. I don't care. Like,
the goal is not for him to beat me. Like,
yeah,
I can't break 80 right now.
Yeah,
that's not the goal. That's not the goal. His goal is to play on Saturday and Sunday.
He sucks at the competition and the level he's at. He sucks at doing it. I'm sorry. And he goes, "Well, I could beat you." Well, that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about your current job.
Well, by God, I hope so.
When you get fired off of that tour and you don't make it anymore and you come back and play me, then I'll say, "You know what? You're a pretty good golfer for a guy playing out here at RTJ." I get it. But,
yeah,
like,
that's not what we're talking about.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about you playing on Saturdays and Sundays and you're not doing it.
You want me to tell you something, Ben, that would make Grayson Murray a better player? Probably.
Don't you say Swannies, because if you've seen him, he is not going to look good in a Swannies shirt.
Nope, it's much better.
He's too much of a dick.
This could even fix Grayson Murray, and that is the Blue Tees rangefinder, especially the Series 3. They have a mode in it called scan mode. I don't know if you've seen this. You pop it into scan mode, and it will lock on to like trees, bunkers, tell you where stuff is it'll like search for.
That's pretty cool.
Essentially search for hazards and markers to shoot at. So really cool. It's essentially it does everything that the top of the line $550 rangefinders do, only much fraction of the price. And looks way cooler. You can get a blue and a pink one, jet black.
A fraction? What are you talking about? You can get a whole packet of speakers and everything for less than you can buy a Bushnell.
Totally. And on top of that, you can save 10% by using coupon code DADBOD. We just got ours in. I've played with it. I've already told y'all I got comparison. I got literally side-by-side comparisons. It's not this. It's within 1 or 2 yards. It's within 5%. It's dead on with the top of the line rangefinders that we won't call out by name. So
too late. Already did that.
It does the slope, lock on, buzz and lock on, everything. BlueTeesGolf.com. Check
magnets
them out.
in it, so you can hang it on the side of your cart.
Magnets built in. You don't even got to get the stupid little wrap thing. It's built in. Blue Tees, and then go ahead and get that. Send this to your wife for Father's Day package. I mean, I think they got like a Father's Day package thing going on.
They do.
Check them out.
Their Memorial Day package carried over. They're still running it right now, and then they got the Father's Day package coming up too. So it's set on the
mega
side.
savings. Yep. Mega savings on Blue Tees. Check them out. Where rangefinders start.
You got to enter the coupon code though.
Coupon code DADBOD. Have to get 10% off.
That easy.
All right, moving on. Still going to talk a little bit about the Live Tour, and
you're right. That would help Grayson. Probably.
That probably would help. The scan mode would be big for Grayson. I feel like the scan mode would be big. We had a conversation about the Live Tour on Friday, and one of the things Nate brought up, which I thought was a really good point. What is the catch? There's a catch here somewhere that we don't know, because the money just seems too good to be true. You guys, the money's just astronomical. What is the catch? Why are people not running over there? And Ben, I think you hit the moral dilemma is big, even though it's a faux moral dilemma. Yeah. It is still big. You got sponsorships on the line, things like that. But little things, media packages and stuff like that are starting to leak out a little bit about what's going to be required from these players. And, maybe this is answer some of those questions. So I'm just going to read some of these and we can talk about them. Let me know what you think about it, Ben. And we'll just kind of go from there. So like the first thing that is being said is that all the players will have to download a special app on their phone. And on that app, you will have to have your notifications on. It will notify you when it's event time, when the event is scheduled, practice rounds, all that. It'll notify you who you have to go talk to, when you have to be there, where you have to be, Like it's going to be essentially like there's going to be somebody pinging you at all the time, telling you, you got to go shake this guy's hand. You got to go talk to this person. You got to do this. You got to do that. So that's number one. So, that is something that the PGA Tour there's nothing even remotely like that with the PGA Tour. It's sort of, come and go as you please. And they do a lot of stuff for fans and stuff like that. But
yeah, even this weekend, I noticed at the end that Workday was one of the sponsors of Jack's tournament this weekend.
Yeah.
That CEO didn't get to meet him. He basically got to meet Billy Horschel at the end. That was it.
Yeah.
And it was a handshake.
Good job,
hey,
buddy.
yeah, thanks for playing in the tournament that I just gave millions to. I think it's going to be a little different with this. I think these guys are, like you said, app's going to be sending them notifications. It's like, hey, so-and-so with this and this would like you to have lunch with him tomorrow. And you're going to be having to go and have lunch with him tomorrow.
Exactly.
That's part of your contract.
Exactly. 90-minute interviews, which in other words, like after a round, you could only have an interview for 5 minutes, but you have to commit to at least 90 minutes, regardless if there's 90 minutes of worth of questions. Maybe it's only 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Something crazy happens. You could be there for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
You have no choice. That's one thing that you have to do. 90-minute interviews, which that seems
that's a long time,
excessive,
man.
Insanely excessive. I
Even
mean, we
the
do
Masters,
this show.
Even the Masters that they do, they're one of the few, their press conferences or individual press conferences, and they let one of the members ask questions for the PGA Tour player, and then they open it up to the media. That's still only like 15, 20 minutes, and it seems like it lasts forever. Like some of the one, because you watch some of them and you're like, I don't care what Grayson, well, he wouldn't be in the field. That's probably a bad choice of words. You don't care what ABC player has to say for 20 minutes. Let's move on. Let's get Phil up there. Let's get Tiger up there. Let's get DJ up, that kind of thing. So I'm curious. I'm kind of curious on the 90 minutes. That's got to be a request from media already overseas that it said, we'd really like more time with these players. And so that's why they did that. Yeah.
I'm sure that's got, a lot to do with it, But yeah, so that's one. Here's another. I saw a little bit of chatter of this on Twitter, but one of the things, and I think this is actually a cool thing, but I could also see how it could be miserable for a pro, is that fans can purchase tickets to be in your locker room, team locker room, which, this is going to be a team thing. So fans can purchase tickets to be in the team locker room when they're, getting ready, doing whatever they're going to do, and walk inside the ropes with the players, which I think is awesome. But just imagine any douchebag that wants to spend $3, $4, $5 to walk beside you has the ability to just sit there and just, I got
a sneaky suspicion it's going to be people though that have a little bit of sophistication. I think the price of those tickets is going to be pretty damn high.
Oh yeah. And the travel, but like Pumpkin Ridge, when they come to America,
yeah,
there could be, that's up in, I think that's up in Oregon.
Hey,
there's
if
some
Jimmy
weirdos.
Rain wants to go sell some Yellowwood to DJ out there on the course, that's the place to do it.
Exactly. But I could see where that could be sort of a distraction and aggravation to some pros. So all the contracts, every single contract, all these 48 guys will sign are for all 8 events. So we were questioning about that. Do you have to play all 8? What you got to play all 8. Okay. And then on top of that, all 8 events plus any added by the Live Tour. And there could be an addition that could be like 2 to 3 Asian Tour events. So like you're signing on, you're contractually, like the PGA Tour, I think you have to have like a minimum number of starts out of however 50 tournaments or 48, however many tournaments they have over the year. You only have to commit to a certain amount. You got to be at every single one of them. And then if they just randomly add some, you got to go to those too. So not a lot of freedom there. Most of the contracts are at least 2 years, some 3 years. So you're in and you're in. Like
still, man, that's only 16 tournaments. Like that's the thing is when people are giving these guys grief and they're like, well, you're not going to get to play some of the venues that you're getting. It's like, it doesn't matter. Like from a financial standpoint and from a job standpoint, they're going to get to do less work for a hell of a lot more money.
Oh yeah.
And I understand that, like we were talking about, that may get a little old, some rich guy following you around or, especially if they're not a huge golfer, they're just a huge fan and they may be talking or something when they don't need to be talking, or asking you questions while you're trying to talk with your caddy. I could see where that would get a little old, but still, you've only got to endure it for 8 times this year. Well, minimum, maybe 10 if they add a couple of events, but 8 times this year and another 8 times next year. That's it.
And then the good thing, and I'm looking at the schedule and like, I'm trying to see how it could be like, there's no real schedule conflicts like at all. Like, let's just really talk about this. Okay. The first event is next weekend. Okay. The tournament that's next weekend
Do we have television coverage on that yet?
Is the Canadian Open.
Yeah, the RBC Open. Yes, they're opening up the same weekend that DJ. That's why they dropped him.
Now that could be tough. That could be tough. So DJ's going to have to go. DJ, if the USGA, and we're going to talk about that too. If the USGA rules that it's okay for him to play in it, he's going to have to go to London in the very next week, turn around and come back to Massachusetts. So that's a big turnaround.
Yeah,
that's probably the biggest turnaround that I've seen where there really could be an issue. Then you got the Open. All right. The Open is July. The US Open, or the Open, is July 14th through 17th. Okay. Mm-hmm. The closest tournament after that, you got the Pumpkin Ridge is July 1st through the 3rd, which that tournament there's not even a tournament. There's not even a PGA tournament that weekend or that time frame. And then the next one's 2 weeks after the Open. So you got the one at Trump National Golf Club in New Jersey. That's at the end of July. So like, there's no real scheduling conflict there. The next tournament is not until September after the Tour Championship. Like the rest of them are September, and then 3 in October. It could not be more innocuous. Like, it could not be more like no conflict with the PGA.
Right.
That I mean, they literally are. They're not trying to replace the PGA Tour. They're just trying to add to or give. They say grow the game, whatever. Argue that however you wish, but there's really not a whole lot of for them to require them to play in these events. It's not really a big schedule conflict to take away from PGA Tour events. Like, that was one of the conversations we had too.
Right.
So word on the street is that there's about 7 to 10 other guys that are just sitting here waiting on what the USGA decides, because there is some talk that the USGA could side with the PGA Tour, but it would be something that would open themselves up to like lawsuits, things like that, because by rule, it's an Open. By rule, it's an Open. So if Kevin Na is not associated with the PGA Tour, if Dustin Johnson is not associated with the PGA Tour, and and he is in by qualification, the USGA is more than likely going to let him play. Because not only that, it's going to be huge ratings. Like, that would be gigantic.
They're not going to turn the money down,
especially if Dustin Johnson or Kevin Na end up winning the first tournament in London, and then they come play in the US Open. There's going to be questions. I mean, it's just ticket sales, everything would just be that much bigger. I think they're gonna side with it. And there's 7 to 10 guys, and they say they're pretty high profile, that are sort of waiting to see what the USGA will say, how they will rule. And once that happens, boom, they're going to flip the switch and they're going to go over there. So
I still say that there's a side of this that we don't know about, that even the PGA Tour hasn't thought about, that I still think, even though everybody calls him dumb, I think DJ and his connections with the Gretzky family and even the people that represent him have figured out some sort of loophole that he ain't going away, because he hasn't turned in his resignation yet. And with him being the first one that jumped, I feel like they've got something where they're like, there's no way they can do this. And if they do, we're going to sue the ever living pants off of them.
Yeah. And they're probably going to win. I mean, they'll and that'll just continue to open the floodgates.
Oh yeah. They don't want to go down that road, because if they do it and they win, then every tour player is going to do it. And this all could have been solved, Kyle. I heard an interview with Pat Perez, and I think I'd mentioned this on the pod before. He had talked about, and this was before they even announced the details of the Live Tour.
Yeah.
And he had talked about
a guaranteed salary thing.
The PGA Tour could have avoided this just by making sure that guys don't lose money when they don't make the cut. Yeah. And he's like, and it's not that much money. Like with the money that they're making, like if you will just give the entire field anywhere
50 grand or something like that.
Yeah. He said that if you give every tour player that plays in a tournament $15,000, and he even went on to say, he said, and if you make the cut, you don't get the money. It goes to the guys that didn't make the cut because you're guaranteed money, or he said, subtract it from the purse total if you make the cut.
Right.
Like whatever it may be. So that way you don't just go broke doing it, which they're not, but they have done this to themselves. The PGA Tour has done this to themselves by guys jumping ship. And I mean, we've talked about it. We've talked about it with other podcasters and other guests that we've had on the show where their PGA Tour app, they can't get the app right. And now this Live Tour, this is the whole way they're functioning is through the damn app. They're going to be sending, like their players are going to be functioning through. Can you imagine if a player had to follow the PGA Tour app to get all the information they needed?
Be a disaster. Be an absolute disaster. You would get push pin, you get notifications like an hour before after your tee time was supposed to go off. Like you'd be late every single time.
Nate got the notification of the winner while we were doing a podcast one night talking about the winner.
Yeah, exactly. It's the craziest thing. And then this is the biggest thing that I think this will be the biggest obstacle that I think a lot of people, a lot of players are going to, this is going to keep a lot of players from going over there. So like the guys that aren't quite there yet, but they're still good players, maybe they're, in the top 200, like between 100 to 200, and they're climbing. No world ranking points.
No.
Yet for any of these. So if you're banking on, your world ranking getting you into majors and things like that, if you go over here, you're not going to gain any more world ranking points. So you either have to have your exemptions from winning other majors, or be so high that you can afford to like have a couple of years and then just maybe play well in those majors,
right,
to build up your world ranking points. But you get no world ranking points, and those are very, 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 very important, especially when it comes to priority when it comes to majors. So
we mentioned this in the last pod too. One thing that is going to really hurt the PGA Tour, and you and I had the discussion. It was when it was just me and you. I forgot which one. It was the last one or the one before. I think it was the one before that, where we were talking about amateurs and keeping that amateur status, and whether, because I posed the question to you. Yeah, it was the Would You Rather Wednesday. I said, would you rather, win a national title with your college or win an amateur championship? Yeah. Well, I think it's Piot is how you say his name. May it's Piot. Whatever. Is it Piot?
He gone.
He is gone. And you know why? They gave him 7 million reasons to go.
Yep.
He's going to be guaranteed $7 million to go. And he could play, Kyle, he could play for 10 years and not make $7 million.
He could play 10 years and be retired, like be selling.
Yes.
What are those vacuum cleaners you used to go door to door? What were those called?
Hoovers.
Hoover, or he could be selling. He could be selling those in 10 years. Like he could go play, and it's a 2 to 3 year contract. So you're going to make $7 million, and then you're going to make, I think it was like $250,000 per start is what I saw the top amateurs were making. So do the math. That's $2 million minimum a year for playing, not counting your bonus signing on, and then the winnings. Though we haven't even got there yet. They're throwing out just gigantic money purses in these things. So
for 8 events too. That's it.
Freaking events. Yes.
I mean, as I said, 7 million. I mean, you're talking, like you just said, he could play for 10 years, not make 7 million playing. I mean, 35 events a year and not make that kind of money. And now he's going to play 8, and he's made that money before he even hits the first ball.
And he's really young. He's really young. Like what? He's 22, 21.
Yeah, he 22. Just finished college. So he's like 22. I think he's 22. I think that's what it said in the article. I think it said he was
more than likely by the time he's 30, this Live Tour is going to be out of business, and he'll still be able to probably go back and apply and play on the PGA Tour. I mean, it is a gamble. It is a gamble that you may never get to play on the PGA Tour. But I mean, ultimately, what's more important
what I love about
it is his status.
Here's the article. Here it is too. I love the headline. James Piot just turned pro and has the 2021 U.S. Amateur Champ already jeopardized has he jeopardized his career by signing with Live Golf? No, there are golfers in their career that don't make $7 million. Like he's fixing to make 10 plus minimum. This is minimum $10 plus million for 8 events. No, he hasn't jeopardized his career. You know what he did? He just made a career in 8 starts. He just had somebody's career in 8 starts. Yeah. I mean, that's a stupid headline.
Well, the only thing, it's a misleading headline. The only thing he's jeopardized is possibly playing on the PGA Tour one day, which is a big deal. That is a huge deal. That could not ever happen. But at the same time, like, he's not guaranteed to ever even be there. No. He's not guaranteed to ever even get there. Like, he still has to start off at the Korn Ferry Tour, just like everybody else, and work your way up. So there's no guarantee that he's actually going to be there. He would get to play. Now, how does that going to work out? Do you think
he's not a PGA? He gets to play because, just like with Kevin Na, he is not suspended because he is not a USG. He's not.
But the Masters can do whatever they want.
Yeah, they may decide not to, but he'll still be in the amateur champion. He'll still get the British and the U.S. Open. He still gets those. So
he should get those. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, man. It's crazy. It's crazy money. I think it's a big story. It's going to be a big story until the Live Tour doesn't exist anymore, and it's going to get even bigger after this coming up weekend. And I think the early word I'm hearing is the TV deal. It's actually going to be live streamed through YouTube. So I think YouTube is going to be the big platform that you're going to be able to watch it through right now, until probably that once they see how it goes, when it comes to America, the next event at Pumpkin Ridge, probably going to get a TV deal. Probably going to get a TV deal for that one, I would imagine. It's probably
it'll probably be on like Lifetime though, because I mean, the TNTs and TBSs aren't going to want to ruin their. They got the PGA Championship and then and the British Open, and then ESPN's got their deal with the PGA, so it probably won't be on your regular channels. But somebody will pick it up.
Fox.
Yep. Well, Fox got get.
It's rotating the USO. I mean, they don't get it all the time. Like they sort of get kind of poo-pooed on when they do a golf event. So you know what they may say? They may say, "Screw it.
Yeah,
we're going to go get this one and see what happens." But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this whole thing plays out. But Live Tour, it is a story. I don't care how much you want to act like it's not. It definitely is a story.
No, as a matter of fact, just to put forth the point that Kyle made earlier, when he said, when I went to Google Live Tour schedule while he was running through the events and the times, I'm not kidding you when I say in the search bar, Kevin Na's picture popped up. So when people say that it's not a story, I'm like, I literally Googled Live Tour and it was Kevin Na's picture that popped up.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it was worth talking about this weekend. It is a big deal. I'm sorry. Those of you.
And we're going to keep talking about it too. So like, it's interesting. It's golf stuff. We're definitely going to talk about it. And then another thing we're going to talk about is Swannies.co. Guys, you got to go check them out. They're starting to add new styles, seemingly almost weekly. So a lot of new polos, hats, shorts, everything you can dream of. And the new styles, the second half of this year's styles are about to drop. It's supposed to be a whole lot of new shorts, maybe some more joggers, things like that. Those guys are awesome. Use coupon code DADBOD Golf Pod -25. If you missed out this weekend, they had a huge blowout, like
they did,
mystery box sale. Heck, email them, give them a chance. You may be able to still get one of those. They may still have some left over. Big time savings. Those guys they're growing and they're ready to move some stuff. So use coupon code DADBOD Golf Pod -25. Take 25% off literally every order that you could never imagine. You could even use it on the sale category. Go pillage the sale category, or go get some of the new stuff. It's really cool. I got my eyes on a few polos that I really got to get for the summer tournament series that we're gonna have coming up. So check those guys out, Swannies.co. Moving on, we did have some PGA Tour golf this weekend. Billy Horschel wins the Memorial, sort of going away. Kind of took it over. And he looked different to me this week. He looked almost like super likable. Like there's
Mhm.
something different about him. Like the way he plays, his pre-shot routine, his putting thing is still sort of bugging me, but he carried himself in a way. He carried himself in a way to me that was different, I guess.
Yeah.
I couldn't really put my finger on it. Like one time, like he ripped the drive and then picked up his tee before the shot tracer like had gotten over him. Thought that was kind of cool. Late in the
Yeah.
late in the round on Sunday. Great. He's an unbelievable putter. Like, forget about the crazy thing he does.
Oh, the eagle that he poured in to basically seal the championship. Because I mean, you got to think, some of the guys are thinking they're within striking distance if he runs a wheel off, and he makes a bomb from about 70 feet and raises it. He also, you're talking about him being likable. He didn't do anything. There was no angry Billy this weekend.
No, there wasn't. And maybe it's because he's playing good. I don't know. I mean, that happens, but yeah, he was fun to watch this weekend. He was fun to watch. I took some of the things, I might look some of the things he did. I might try, like the pre-shot routine and the positions he gets into, and maybe something to look at. But he's growing on me. His dad has a sweet freaking beard mustache thing going on.
I got a whole lot of more respect when I saw Dad. Yeah. I was like, okay, that guy can hang out with me in Red Level, Alabama, anytime I want.
He might be from Red Level. Either that or his dad looked a lot like the dad from like West Coast Choppers or that Orange County Choppers or whatever it is. He kind of had like that kind of.
Yeah, but it was like the skinny version of it. Like
he was not roided version. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I did find it interesting. And I knew his wife has dealt with some alcohol problems. Horschel's been pretty open about that, about her addiction. That his interviews that he's done about it, it's really sad. That's another reason that I don't just hate him, because I didn't realize how much he dealt with off the course. But this is the first time his wife and family has been present for him to win anything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they said that after. This is the first win. And I thought it was hilarious because, you don't really mention alcohol around her, because, I mean, so when the kids came out on the green, one of the kids said, "Can we go get ice cream since you won?" And he was like, "We definitely can do that." So I think that's where they're headed, was to go get ice cream.
That's awesome. That's cool. Won. That's cool. Any Family Guy stuff, I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah. So I'll give him that. He looked. You got to see the softer side of him with his family there today on 18, with him accepting the win and meeting Jack. And I did think it was hilarious, Jack introducing himself to Billy's wife. And I find it funny when people like Jack and Tiger and people like when they stick their hand out and they're like, "Hey, I'm Jack Nicklaus." I'm like, "Yeah, I got that, bub."
Yeah, knew that.
You can just say, "Hey, nice to meet you." Like, we got who you are. We know it's your tournament. We know who you are. So, but then when he reached down and said hey to the kids, Jack, because he's got that children's hospital down there. I mean, he's all about stuff like that. So good for a family guy like that to win. And as you said, we could come around on Billy a little bit. He showed his softer side. He is a guy that I've said numerous times, I do hate that he's not been in President Cups and Ryder Cups. He's a great match play guy.
He seems intense. He's intense. He'd be good.
I think he'd be a guy in the locker room too that would be like, no horsing around. Like, I think he's pretty focused.
There's a little pun there based off his last name. Can we talk about the Bulldog? Do we need to talk about the Bulldog or
they wanted him. You went back and forth with somebody on Twitter too that was she was really pulling for him. And she had a bad
Twitter weekend. Yes, she did. I like her though. I'm a fan of
I am too. But everybody wants Cam Smith to be great. And don't get me wrong, we like Cam Smith. Because somebody said that they heard the pod, and like one of my buddies texted me, he goes, "You guys just hate Cam Smith." I was like, "No, I would love to have a beer with him. Like, I like Cam Smith." I think, and Kyle thinks, Nate's kind of been neutral on this, that everybody overhypes Cam Smith.
Yes, big time.
Like, he's a good player. I give him that. He's won tournaments.
It's fun to watch. Yes. He's a great putter. Unbelievable putter.
Yes. He gets out of trash because he's in trash all the time. He makes miraculous recovery shots, saves par from out of anywhere. But at the end of the day, he's not the number one golfer on the tour right now. Like, But they want him to be.
And they this is my only thing. I love Cam Smith. Okay. I do like Cam Smith. If he were to win every single tournament for the rest of my life, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, we'd be fine with that.
But like we get this, he's sort of been built as this like, and it's just because like he doesn't show emotion or like he doesn't really act like he even cares to be there. He gets built up as this like unflappable, can't phase him type guy. And then like literally after they say that stuff that he's phased, like, I mean, he was on the tee box starting off the tee today. And, or was it yesterday? I think it was today. Was it today? He shot off bogey, or was that yesterday?
Yes, it was today. He started off, I know he started out bogey today because he hit it in the trash over on the left. And I thought, well, here comes another up and down where they're just going to just be all over him. But he did have a bogey on one today.
Yesterday was the day.
I don't know if he went bogey, but he went bogey.
Yesterday was the day he started off, and I think he was tied for the lead. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, yesterday he was pretty much tied for the lead. This was Saturday. And he gets on the tee and literally they're just like gagging over like,
yeah,
oh, he can't, this guy just loves the moment. You can't phase him, blah, 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 blah. Starts off bogey, shoots even par, sort of out of it. Then he shoots 77 today, shoots 5 over today. I mean, he's still top 15, 42 on the front, smooth 42 on the front. Like that's not anything.
Rory shot a smooth 41 on the front. He showed up again.
Yeah, go figure. But yeah, I'm I hope he ends up winning. But
people, no, we love him, but he's Australian, so he's never going to be a Ryder Cup guy because the media
is making me not like him, and I don't.
Yeah, the media exactly.
I want to, and it's pissing me off.
So I mean, because we've talked about it. I mean, how cool he's the cool guy, like. And they want him to be like a great golf. And I don't think he wants to be like number one. Like we were talking about, when he missed a cut, he went fishing during the tournament, like out there on the dock, drinking beer and fishing while the rest of the guys were playing golf after he missed a cut. Like we like those guys. Those are dad bod guys.
We got to stop the hyperbole. Like let's just.
We got to stop with the making a guy that's a top 20 player, a top 5 player, a top 3 player, because that's what they all think he is. And I think even if you ask him, I think he would say, no, I'm not that. I think he would even tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it was a good tournament. Always is.
It was it was more impressive that Billy won today and held on. Kyle, I don't know if you knew this. I watched all of it today.
Yeah, the greens.
And they threw out one of the stats that they had already had either 4 or 6 players shooting the 80s today. And then a bunch of other high 70s guys. Like the course was playing tough today. The entire front 9 was in the wind today. So put it this way, one of the par 3s, they hit 9 irons on yesterday. They were hitting 5s and 4s today.
Into rock hard greens.
Yes.
And Jack was like giggly in the stand or giggly in the box whenever he would see like a beautiful high 7 iron hit, 5 feet from the pin, bounce and roll off the back of the green. Like it just made him like happy inside, which is just borderline psychotic to me. But yeah, you remember last year they were like digging up the holes as they were finishing a hole. Remember that they were like digging up the greens as they finished a green. The last group, they would be digging up the green.
Yeah.
Got them already. They were firm. They were fast. Said they were rolling like 13s, which is just, I mean, that's Augusta style. That's Augusta.
Yesterday was the anniversary of John Rahm having to leave the tournament from COVID. Saturday was when he was going to go into the final round with a friggin' 9-shot lead and had to leave the tournament.
What day was that? He shanked one off the whole course. Was that Saturday?
That was it could have been Thursday because I think I saw it on social media Friday, or it may have been Friday morning. He may have been
it had to be number 11 where he doubled a par 5. It had to be. Yep. Because I see a penalty shot. Yeah, you got to Google that. John Rahm shank. He had a bad one. It was a like rocket. Like it actually got like, it was not like on the ground. It got up in the air shank. Like it went 200 yards at least. So
wow,
it was a good one. But he still battled and finished with the top 10. So he's not going anywhere. Cool to see Aaron Wise.
Yes.
Cool to see him coming second. He's been back and forth, great collegiate golfer, came in with a lot of promise and sort of just kind of been a just average. So he's starting to play good. He does a really cool drill that he puts the alignment stick in his belt loops. Did you see that? He's got a lot going on
I've seen that, but I've seen that on social before. Like when I saw him doing that, I thought, maybe I should try doing that. It seems like the guys that do it, it seems to work.
Yeah.
It teaches them to do something. I don't know what it's teaching them to do, but it teaches them to do something.
I would break clubs, wrists, everything trying to do it. But I'm doing this thing right now. I'm doing the alignment stick on the end of the club, like where it's really long and behind you. So you practice turning, like make sure you like turn around the ball. You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Yeah. So, but if I pull up my shirt and show you like the side of my side, there's like bruises all up my ribs where I'm just like I'm still.
What are you doing?
I'm still trying to flip my hands. I'm just whipping that stick.
You're like tin cup. You got the stuff hanging off your hat.
I know.
What are you
doing?
I'm
working on it.
Just hit it, man. Just go hit it.
I'm working on it. I can't I gotta fix it. So when I do go to hit it, good things happen instead of bad.
I find it hilarious the way we treat our games.
Oh, I know. I grind like I'm going to go play in the Masters. But
that was somebody said us. I'll just mention this scenario briefly. It was talking about basically would you rather take breakfast balls or you get no range balls or whatever. And both Nate and I were like, range balls, what is that?
Yeah. I'm a big range guy.
I literally, the only time I've been on the range in 2022, Kyle made me go. Like that's the only time I've been out there. I'm not going to go on my own.
Oh man, people that go dry range.
People are like, "Oh, you can buy a range pass." I'm like, "Why in the hell would I do that?" I am not.
I love the range. I love the range. So therapeutic, especially if you only got like an hour. You can just bang some balls. Love it. All right, last thing. Obviously, there was the women's major. The United States Women's Open was this week. Minjee Lee pretty much won.
You did the whole thing. United States. It's not the U.S. Women's Open. It's the United States Women's
United States Women's Open. Sorry, that U.S. It's hard to say U.S. Women's. I mean, you just got. I don't know. It's easier to say that way because there's a lot of words that you got to get in. Minjee Lee pretty much went wire to wire and kind of ran away with it. There was a lot, very anticlimactic, but big stage on the big channels. 4 rounds and awesome golf course, Pine Needles, very historic for the United States Women's Open. Has been there several times. A lot of history there. It's just cool.
Kyle wants to go play there.
After I saw it, the places look so dope. Like watched, I think it was Suzanne Pedersen, or it is either her or Anna Nordquist putt one like off the green, and it went like. She had like 100 in afterwards. Like if she putted one off the green and it just rolled forever, like down. Cause that's those tight, all those greens are turtlebacks, and
yes,
you roll it just a little bit the wrong way and you're going to have just an incredibly tough chip shot coming back. But 14, what did she end up shooting? 15, 16 under?
I had it pulled up. 13 under. Closest to her was the American Harrogate, who shot 9 under. So she had a Billy Horschel win, but she did it in a major championship.
Well, she was 15 under at some point in time. So like she must have even dropped back a little bit. So
she shot even today. So she must've dropped one of the previous days.
In the round. Like I think she got to 15 and then.
I got you.
But like you're so far ahead. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, it didn't really.
I told Kyle before we came on, and I'm not going to say the course that we played because I don't. If we do go up into Tobacco Road and play a few courses, I don't want it to get to them that we bashed them. We had a chance to play Pine Needles, and instead one of the gentlemen in our group, he does a lot of travel sales, and so he wanted to go to this other course because apparently he'd played it quite a bit. And so we went there instead of Pine Needles. And at that time, I didn't really know how good looking Pine Needles was. But when we got done, like some of the other guys in the group were like, we should play Pine Needles. Like we should play Pine. And so I looked it up online. I was like, yep, we definitely should have played that place because it still cost us $300 to play the other place. Yeah. And it wasn't near as nice as Pine Needles. Let me just say. And again, what we've talked about when you go on resort golf, some of the course was under construction and you still didn't get any kind of discount. Pisses me off. I don't like that. People are going to play top dollar. They need to get the top course. So
I'm with you.
And so but Kyle was saying how he wanted to go and play Pinehurst, and I was like, yeah, we need to make that trip. We need to do that and play Pine Needles and play at least number 2 at Pinehurst. And I'd like to play 4. 4 was closed when we were there. They were doing some work, but that seems to be one of the other popular ones. On the course. So
Nelly Corda had a top 10,
yeah.
which is crazy.
It's crazy because she's coming. She hasn't played this year. She had surgery. She's got hardly any experience this season and still was able to put together a top 10 and probably would have been up there around number 5 or so. But she shot 2 over today.
You want to get controversial and talk about her issue?
Okay.
You want to?
I will. Go ahead.
Let's do it. So why she missed golf, Ben? Talk about why she's missed a little bit of golf lately. You know why?
No, it was a surgery on her arm. I don't know what she did to hurt it.
Blood clots.
Oh, that's right.
Blood clots. And she will not talk about why and where they came from. But people ask her and she just refuses to talk about it. But I'm just saying,
controversial.
In her prime, she suffered from pretty severe blood clots, and I think it was either her arms or legs, and she's had to miss a substantial amount of time. Came back, top 10 finish. That's awesome. She's a star. She's a star.
And you want to know why? Why? It's just hit me about the blood clot. She flies a lot, and they suggested because I have a buddy that is a pilot. And that was one of the things that they filed a grievance with their union because you were susceptible to blood clots when you're in the air a lot. And of course, just these PGA Tour golfers and the LPGA Tour golfers, not to mention all the appearances she goes to, she's in a plane probably twice a week minimum, if not 3 or 4 times a week, depending on if she makes appearances somewhere.
Yeah.
So just saying, again, it is controversial, but
I just don't understand why she doesn't talk about it. Like, just talk about it. It's not a big deal. I mean, it is what it is. Like, we've made the damn thing in like a year. I mean, let's just be real about it. It
ain't like we've all done the right thing. So I mean, let's talk about the mistakes that are being pointed out. And so, but yeah, she's I think it's phenomenal that she hasn't played hardly any golf this year. I think didn't she get that surgery done right after they did that that father-son, father-daughter
I think so
tournament? I think she got done like the next week or something. And so she hadn't been back out there. And so she was able to do this. So to finish in the top 10 on a women's US Open.
The purses were incredible. So Minjee Lee won 1.8 million, which is wild. That's a huge purse for a women's tournament. And then a cool story I saw Monday Q Info tweet about was Mina, I think it's Haragay, who came in second, American golfer came in second. She won $1 million, $1,080,000 for coming in second. And he said that she was literally borderline on the verge of running out of money and quitting golf.
Wow.
And came in second. And she's set. I mean, you're set for multiple years now. So that's huge. I hope that it's something that can be sustainable. I know they want to make these big purses like this a thing for women's golf. I hope the ratings and all that help them justify it, and they can keep doing it because I think it's cool. I think some of these stories are great, and there's some stars. There's some budding stars. There's a girl from Sweden, amateur. I think she had one of the lowest scores for amateur in the women's amateur ever. Ingrid Lindblad.
She plays at LSU.
Played at LSU. Top T11. It's big.
She actually had she didn't win it, but she had the best score on the final round on Sunday on that Masters thing that they do before the Masters, the Augusta National Women's Tour thing that they do. Yeah. She really golfed her ball that day. She like 68
or something like that.
Yeah. She had the best score of the day. Like, she came in like tied for like 30th and finished like 3rd or 2nd. I mean, she had the best day by far. She can golf her ball. So she's keeping her amateur status. So she played as an amateur this time around. So she can go back. She's going to go back and finish her senior year at LSU.
That hurts. That's $200,000. Just
maybe she'll pick up. That's why I'm talking about that. Maybe she'll pick up an NIL deal at LSU now. Who knows?
Yeah, that could. You're right. But she beat the next amateur by like 10 strokes. So
yeah,
the girl Rose Zhang, who won the national championship.
Yeah,
from Stanford. So women's golf's they're really trying. They're really putting a lot of effort into it. I'm glad they deserve it. And you got some budding stars. So
and
that's good stuff.
I will say the stuff like, you heard Kim come out and say, afterwards, we've talked about this on the podcast. She was complaining about the girls.
I just want us to be honest about ourselves. I just want us to be honest about it.
And she was, and she also, like, she talked about how, well, they only get one day at Augusta. I'm like, do you understand how well they've grown the game of golf just being able to play that one day, though?
And all of them appreciate the heck out of it. Like, they love the crap out of it.
And
they don't have a men's amateur event there.
No. And I mean, I'm not saying that Augusta's doing them a favor, but I am saying that golf is doing a favor to the rest of us because, hell, we watched it. Yeah. Kyle and I watched it the weekend before. I mean, that's what and she's like, that's not growing the game. It's like, it is growing the game. We sat down and her argument was, well, the only reason, people watched because it was at Augusta. So what? I just remembered the girl from LSU that made a charge on the final day.
That's called marketing. That's marketing, and they're trying. They're really trying. Gosh. They're pumping money into it, and I hope there's a return on it.
Can things be better? Yes. Could they be a hell of a lot worse?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. All right. Happy Monday.
Yes.
Y'all have a great week. We just went an hour, so hopefully that gets you through a long drive, or maybe
Nate's already texting us wanting to know what all we talked about and how the pod went. It's like, you should have been here, bub.
Yeah, exactly. But
we snuck up on him.
Exactly. Follow us on all the social medias. Follow us on subscribe on YouTube. Maybe you get a little bonus content every now and then. And we just really appreciate it. We're closing in on a year. I guess technically we need to go look back. I mean, this week could be the year, right?
We're bumping on a year
because it was the week before the US Open, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. So we'll have to go back and look at it a year into it. And obviously we can't continue to do it unless there's people listening. So it's growing every month seemingly. And we really appreciate it. It's been a blast, and we're going to definitely keep doing it as long as y'all want to hear stuff from us. So
no doubt.
We love it. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Bet Online, and we will see you on Wednesday. Dadbod Golf Pod.
Always
stroking. No hats. Looking fly.